Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Belle again. So today, we're going to talk about the UN Security Council, reforms, more seats, and a misunderstanding. Okay, so the United States is reported to be ready to back additional permanent seats at the UN Security Council. This has led to a lot of questions about why and what it means. The first bit is, what is the UN Security Council? The UN has a bunch of different bodies. The two most often in the news are the General Assembly and the Security Council. The Security Council is the body that determines security-related issues. They issue the famed Security Council resolutions that can sometimes authorize the use of military force. One incredibly common misconception is the number of members of the Security Council. The majority of people believe there are 5 members: China, France, Russia, the UK, and the US. These are the permanent members. There are 10 other members that are not permanent and are elected for 2-year terms. The focus on the 5 permanent members in coverage really goes back to the fact that these members have veto power. This is why the UN is incapable of adequately dealing with some issues, because those members get final say. The other members are often completely ignored in the media coverage. The U.S. ambassador to the UN recently said, quote, "That is why, in addition to non-permanent membership for African countries, the United States supports creating 2 permanent seats for Africa on the Council. It's what our African partners seek, and it's what we believe is just." The U.S. has a fairly long history of supporting the expansion of the Security Council. The U.S. has supported permanent seats for Japan, Germany, and others at various points in time. The U.S. is right, too. The Council needs to be reformed. It arose from the ashes of World War II, and its structure reflects that. But it's foreign policy. It's not about right and wrong, it's about power. So what's really going on? First, the new permanent seats would not have veto power like the current permanent members. There's always a catch, right? The other thing to remember is that the long forecasted shift to focusing on Africa is underway. It's been talked about on this channel for years, and it's here. This is the most visible sign. The seats are a way to say, hey, we'll give you a seat at the table, meaning both the UN Security Council and the International Poker Game. The clearest indication that the announcement by the U.S. is about signaling is the fact that they made no mention of the other permanent seats the U.S. supports. There wasn't even mention of the permanent seat that the U.S. policy still supports for Latin America and the Caribbean. What you are seeing with the push to reform is a step in the right direction, but it's a small step. It will allow the voices of other countries to be heard, but reserves the right of the current permanent members to ignore those voices if they so choose. Setting it up this way is likely to make sure the other members of the Council are on board with it. It will change the dynamics of the discussion, and voices that desperately need to be heard will be. But it's unclear if this would actually change the way the Security Council functions. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.